Namaskaram and a very good morning. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for being here today. The reason being, this particular conversation is coming from a platform where we achieved the highest ever clarity in terms of how can we help someone clear the exam. We have done multiple iterations throughout. We have done multiple iterations, but this time, especially because of the 21-day challenge which we have done, where we had parallel access to both online students and offline students. What is happening here? What is happening here? So that way, uh, the 15-20% gap, even after investing 15,000 hours, is sorted. Now we are clear. Now it's sorted. We are sealing it. We're sealing the deal. Like it's a time where a process is converted into a product. So that's how concrete everything has been built. So even yesterday, we were constantly looking into because once you submit your PDR using our filters, if you just enter a particular name, we'll get to know a particular student, let's say Prasad, in a single fold, we'll get to know when he has submitted PDR in a chronological order, what are the dates he has missed, whether it's PDR, day and revision, midday revision, all of that, and exam mistake tracker, what has happened. Now, for us, in a very simpler view, exam one, week two, week three, what has happened. So this is the kind of insights which we get at the back end. So this is a very detailed and thorough process in terms of understanding someone without having any space for feeling or thinking in a particular way. So it's not about I felt good, I felt that I have improved. No. Did you actually improve? Yes or no? Is what we are able to achieve. Now we are sharing these insights directly to you because for you need to understand. Because a lot of times what is happening is our understanding is way ahead than the student's understanding. Even when we say that, most of the students are unfortunately sticking to their own beliefs than trusting some insights which you can have at an earlier stage. I'll tell you one example. Now, when I say that March is more important than April, it is for a reason. Because April, the possibility of stepping up is low. April is more about maintenance, not getting stressed or continuing what has already been done. It's like a terrace. You can't stay there. You can't build anything, but you just have to conclude it logically to stay in the house. That's it. So April is like that. But your instinct or your way of looking at it normally would generally push things to the last minute. So the last minute rush won't work is what I'm trying to tell you. So for you to actually internalize, for you to actually prepare in March the way you're preparing or the way you're supposed to prepare in April, I'm giving you certain insights. So based on that, you can take your decisions. I'm absolutely happy with the kind of progress you have achieved. Like all of you have done fabulous progress. I would say it's good, but my question, which I always have, is good is not good enough. That's my concern. When I say good enough, is it good enough to clear? Not good enough to say that I did try very hard. I'm satisfied with the performance. With this performance, I'll try to clear. No, I'm not talking about it. Is it good enough to clear in May 24 alone? Is what we are exactly looking into. Is that clear? Okay. I'll share some quick insights about each of you. Is the screen visible for all of you? Visible? Can I get a confirmation? You guys see that? Okay, fine. Okay. So when we started this 21-day challenge, now this is the backend framework. I did show you, but I did not elaborate on what it is. Now the backend framework, we are trying to imbibe this five qualities. When I say super student, we are trying to convert a struggling student, so struggling in whatever format it is, to super student. We're not just solving the struggles. We are trying to remove them and make it a tad higher. So struggling student is here, super student is here. So we are trying to build a bridge from here to here because when he's here, he lost a lot of time. So even if he comes here, time won't be sufficient. So that is the reason why he had to come here. So it's a step up than a regular student. So this is what we aim to achieve. Now, how are we trying to do it? What did we do about it? First one, purity in intention. The intention is very clear. The intention is very clear. You're not here to solve your emotional problem. A lot of people do that in preparation. They're like, okay, since my parents are investing so much, let me do some sacrifices. In their mental zone, they'll be constantly reassuring and validating whatever they do. It's okay to do this. It's okay to do that. I put in my work. They don't look at it in terms of objectivity, in terms of clearing. They look at it in terms of what can happen and create constant justification for the inefficiency. Now, we're not talking about it. Now, the intention is very clear. You have to clear in the upcoming event. For you, it's May 24th. You have to clear. That is the only intention. There's nothing else. The intention is to not to solve your internal mental or emotional problems. The intention is to clear the exams. In this process, there will anyways be solved. One. Now, clarity of thought. Now, when I say clarity of thought, I'm talking about pseudo sympathy. What is pseudo sympathy? Thinking that you are making a sacrifice by studying, thinking that you are making a sacrifice by not hanging out or not doing something else. That is bullshit. Now, you have to be very clear. You're doing one of the safest things on the planet. When I say safe, there is no life risk. There is no mental exhaustion risk. For example, if you're a psychiatrist, if you're working in a psychological department, there is a lot of mental load because you're constantly dwelling with people. A lot of psychiatrists themselves face depression because that's what they process everything continuously, right? So compared to a 21, 22-year-old working in a department like this, as compared to that, as compared to a doctor, as compared to many other professions, your load is very limited. So you have to be clear that you're not making any out of the world sacrifices. It's just normal. It's just totally normal, absolutely within the acceptable range of your current capacity. And second, you're only doing this temporarily. You have to be clear that this is not a lifelong thing which you're doing like this. You're doing this temporarily for 3 to 4 months so that you'll have a 30 to 40 year career build. Number three, it's just like a regular day. Your mom works for 8 to 10 hours a day. Your dad works for 8 to 10 hours a day. You're also supposed to work for 8 to 10 hours a day. Any human after 18 years are supposed to work for 8 to 10 hours. It could be physical work. It could be mental work. It could be studying. It could be working on a project. It's just 8 to 10 hours. Now I'm talking about the same thing. So you have to be clear that there is no extra sacrifice or no unnecessary pseudo self sympathy. It's just a normal life. It's just you're having a normal life. You're doing normal. This is clarity of thought. Speed of execution, very, very important. Now, a lot of people think everything is futuristic. Okay, they listen to this, they understand this. Let me try it from next week, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, whatever it is. Now, when I say execution, once your thought is clear, once the clarity emerges, there should not be any stopping factor. Now, you find something, you implement almost right away. Let's say suddenly you discovered a technique called day intervention at 7:30 p.m. You understood this has to happen. Now, it's not like you have to wait for an Achedin where you studied for 10 hours. No, implement on the same day. Okay, you found it, you discovered. Although it won't happen the way you wanted in terms of quality, I want you to immediately implement it right there. So speed of execution is very important because once you are clear, there is no traffic in your mind, right? Once you achieve clarity of thought, there is no unnecessary traffic. Now, why do people can't take decisions or why do people cannot execute things fast? Because there is a lot of unnecessary traffic, congestion. Now, when you don't have congestion, you're supposed to rev it up and kind of implement things faster. Okay. Consistency in action. Now, this is what I talk about. Consecutive consistency. Consecutive consistency. Now, what do I mean by this? You're consistent. Let's say yesterday you woke up at 5 o'clock. Today you woke up at 5:42, just like Anurag had just joined us. Now it looks like somebody has joined, but the point is the consistency is gone. When you have to do something, you have to do it consecutively at the same time for 21 days. The moment a day is broken, the moment something is disturbed, the efficiency will collapse like hell. The efficiency will significantly collapse. Like it's like you look at it in terms of the numbers. Day one, day two, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. You calculate in this way. Now the other way, day one, day two, day three, 0. Now when it becomes 0, day 4 is equal to 1. Understanding the difference? So what is let's look at consecutive consistency is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Okay. This is outcome of consecutive consistency. When you do something consistently across 7 days is the outcome. Now let's look at the other way where you're consistent. Let's say day one, it's 1. Day 2, it's 2. Day 3, you did not do anything. When you don't do anything, it becomes 0. And then when you restart, the next day becomes 1. Restart becomes like next day is macro improvement, 1. And then you do 2. And then there's one more gap, 0. And then you restart, it's 1. This is the difference. You understand? It looks like somebody studied for 5 days, somebody studied for 7 days. Now that is exactly what most of you are going through. You look at the difference, 4x difference, guys. This is exactly what we clearly saw. 4x difference is what we clearly saw within the same 21-day challenge between somebody doing everything every single day versus somebody missing out on limited days. The outcome is also clear because there are people who were able to cross 120 plus in a particular group. There are a lot of people who are able to cross only 60 plus in the same time zone. Okay, so it's clearly reflected. Now, when I talk about consecutive consistency, it's clearly reflected in the outcome. So please be aware of this. And if this gap exists even after March, there's nothing we can do. Now I'm talking about probably we can do something. Ideally, still it's difficult, but probably we can do something is what we're looking at. Okay. So I hope you understand the difference between consistency and consecutive consistency. This is one. Next, when you're talking about openness to correction. Now, when I say openness, it's not just about you being okay to get corrected. I'm also talking about accessibility. Let's say yesterday, when we had to look at some of your papers. Now, online, yes, you did some of yours did scan certain things. That is one. Now, offline, I was able to literally sit and flip the pages and have a back and forth conversation with them. Now, when I say openness, it also includes accessibility. Now, for one of the students, I even took the papers home so that I can have a far more detailed view because it is very important once something is done, the level of intervention and the kind of improvement. Now, all of them have been given very different schedules than what we normally give here. The reason is when somebody is open and when I have greater access to the information, we slightly will go bold. Now, I'll explain how the targets are given. I'll tell you that. But when I say openness to the correction, I also need mental openness and physical openness, where the correction intervention goes deeper, is far more precise, is precise and deep. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, these are the 5 things which we definitely wanted. Yes, all of you gave us that, but moving ahead, I want to take it to an absolute level over and above reasonable level. Okay, this is one. I hope this section, this segment is clear. The 5 qualities which we definitely want. This is like character building. Unless this happens, we cannot do any of the things elsewhere. Okay, this is one. Now, in terms of the preparation principles, this is super, super important. First one, fire everyone and hire yourself. Like when you go to a job, when you go to a big four, when you start working, the moment you start working, don't you make it the highest priority. Until yesterday, you might have parents, you might be in a relation, you might be doing multiple things, you might be sleeping late. The moment somebody gives you a job, the moment somebody says, I'll pay you 50K per month, don't you become, it's like at a mental level, you start working like a slave. I have to wake up, I have to go to office, and everything else waits, right? Somebody's marriage, it waits. Somebody's birthday, it waits. Your own birthday, it waits. Your own marriage, it waits, right? When you have a job, when somebody hires you, that is the level of dedication which you show. Yes or no? Can I get a response? When you normally go and work, even if it's articleship or something, you kind of give an insane level of commitment, which is not there for yourselves, right? When you're studying versus when you're working, the commitment level is very different, whether it's at your business or profession or whether it's a regular job. Now, this is what we want to have it for yourself also. When you're willing to do it for someone else, why are you not doing it for yourself, right? So you should be able to hire yourself. When I say fire everyone, you're not having anyone in your life. Hire yourself first. Like hiring Alan, this is I want you. You are having a clear-cut communication. I want you for the next 30 days, 31 days. Now, this is the kind of conversation I have. Now, I'm completing the current material is about a post-graduation diploma in certain thing. Now, it normally takes 2 years. Now, I'm saying let me complete the entire course curriculum in just 1 month because I don't have 2 years to go to college and learn it in slow motion. Now, I have certain level of attention. Now, I have a accelerated uh, learning process. My working memory is very optimized. And then I removed a lot of things in my calendar. And then I'm keeping the first slot, like before more, like 4 to 5 is what I want to do this. And even after, I have 3 to 4 hours a day to do this. Now, with this high quality intervention, can I not process everything in X amount of time? It's definitely not equivalent to a 2 year diploma, but definitely I'll get the crux. Probably I'll definitely get a top 30%, 40% insights. Like it makes sense, right? Instead of going to a regular college for 2 years, you can get the extract. Already finished 2 books. Already I'm able to have decent quality conversations with someone who has done this. Now, for me, I'm like, I'm firing everyone. I'm firing everything. I'm hiring myself to do one, two, three. Now, the first thing, which I already have a commitment. Now, everyone whom I have in my ecosystem, especially the inner circle, I have to make sure by March 31st, they should know that they're going to clear. That's the first priority. That's how I build the calendar first. This is one. Now, second, when somebody are giving me reasonable assurance, when it's a reasonable assurance where they're staying in a different part where we are connected through online, so I'll have to do something for them. This is second. Third, this one. This is a huge knowledge and skill upgrade because this is completely research based, and this kind of helped me solve certain problems. So some of the things which I'm discussing today is also inspired by this because when scholars sit and write a book after 2 3 years of research, they look at things in a particular perspective. Now, the area of intervention, I'll show you a concentric circle, which I was able to understand how from this particular book. I'll show you that in the next 5 minutes. But then, when you do this, when you take a decision at a mental level, you're talking to yourself saying that, let me fire everyone and hire myself, right? This is the first thing which you have to do. The second part, this is people kind of take it easier, take it light. This peace is important for productivity. Unless you're peaceful, you cannot be productive. If you're not peaceful, solve it first. Don't focus on productivity. You can't be productive. I'm stating it like a truth, like it's not an opinion. This is not what I feel. This is what it is. This is not what I believe. This is what it is. Unless you are not peaceful, you cannot be productive. Now, defining peace is one thing. Defining peace is not like you'll be in a monk-like static mode. I'm talking about reasonable peace. You're in terms with life. You're in terms with yourself. Reasonable peace. You understand that? Not absolute peace. Absolute peace is hard to get. It's almost impossible. That's unless you put in that kind of effort. That is hard than clearing CA. That first you need to remove or resolve the internal dilemma before you go ahead. Okay, this is the next thing which you have to work upon. Next, every day is different, adapt accordingly. When you wake up at a particular day, your body and mind behaves differently. It's the same for you, the same for me, right? So you have to adapt. Okay, you wake up today, you feel energetic, you feel sleepy, you feel drowsy, you don't feel like studying. So different, you start with something. Now, one, by doing this day and revision, previous day revision, this will be reasonably naturalized. But there are still exceptions on certain days. So let's start modeling ourselves accordingly based on what happens. Now, better the attention, better the retention. So this is what we're heavily focusing, especially in the offline part. Like, how do we enhance the attention significantly so that you don't have to work upon your memory differently? So the higher the attention, the higher the retention. Now, learning is a marathon, not a race. When I say learning is a marathon, uh, it's not just about the speed. Because when people keep asking about speed reading technique, no, I'm not. I never use that word speed reading. We instead use accelerated learning. Now, speed reading is just like pressing the accelerator. Most likely, it will lead to an accident. It's part of accelerated learning. Definitely, speed reading is a part of accelerated learning, but independently, it's not an objective. It's a means to reach something higher, right? So you need to understand learning is a marathon, as in it has to be sustainable. It has to be sustainable for a 3 month journey ahead, not like what you do in the next 1 day, 1 hour. Like that, not motivation makes it look like a race. Okay, you study this, you accelerate, you do this today. No, that's not going to work out because it has to be sustainable until the last exam. What if you accelerate everything and you fall down before the exam? So that is not going to work out, right? And the more you understand, the less you have to remember. That is the reason why we constantly focus on helping you understand things. I would have just given you the sheet and asked you to go through and remember things. No, the more you understand, the less you have to remember. And finally, we're talking about an opportunity. What are we working on? All of us have a fabulous opportunity. It's not an opportunity for you, it's an opportunity for us. Right? Without the exam, we cannot prove anything, you cannot experience anything, you cannot change anything. So don't worry about exam, look at it like an opportunity. This is something which you have to clearly understand. 5 qualities and 7 principles is what we were focusing on during this 21-day challenge. Now, in terms of techniques, we opened up FTR and we kind of made you go through box breathing technique. Now, time compression, net energy optimization, this one. Time compression, net energy optimization, one and two. Two techniques here. Deep learning, number three. So these three, uh, as of now, we don't have an direct option to meet the same efficiency offline. Like when we did try it, see, it's definitely a lot better than how we are doing it. But in terms of optimization, in terms of compressing time, when I say time compression, there are challenges when we have to do it online when we don't have complete control. It's a control lapse. We don't have complete control. We try to do something, something else happens in our life, and that it collapses. No, we don't want to get in the cycle multiple times. So these three techniques, especially these three techniques, this has time compression and energy optimization and deep learning. This definitely has a very different impact uh, in an offline or a physical setup. Now, rest of them, it's fine. Color coding, speed reading, and effective note taking, more or less, they're fine. Effective note taking also, we kind of do 2 3 trials. Like we make them do in multiple formats. Slightly, it will be more better. But otherwise, FTR already started. Instant focus is also doable online. Also, no issues. Box breathing, it's fine. Color coding is something which I'll introduce you in this next 2 3 days. And speed reading is already happening through a different route. When I said it's a part of the accelerated learning process. So one thing which you're doing is like Prasanna mentioned the other day, when you are going through the current day skimming, your speed automatically improves. So this is exactly what we're working on. Now, 10 commitments in the sense, these are the 10 commitments which you're saying to yourself. One is one attempt is all you need. And yesterday I was able to sort a books for the like only one book. I removed certain books. I even literally took away some of the books from Kushal. Now, when I say 10 commitments, all you need is one attempt. Right? You just need one attempt. Don't get into the zone thinking that, if not may, no, one attempt is fine. It's enough. It's enough. One attempt is enough. Two books are enough. One attempt is enough. Two books are enough. And we're looking at least 3 cycles of revision before the exam, apart from 5 time revision. I'm talking about macro cycles, not 5 time revision. 5 time revision has to happen. Apart from this, how can we do 3 cycles? Two are definitely there. The third cycle is what you have to attach. Third cycle, don't take it for granted. Two will happen for sure. The third cycle is what we're trying hard to attach. Study for at least 4 days in a week. As I said, every day is different. When I say day 6 and day 7 are anyways cumulative revision exam practice. Now, out of 5 days, you have to study for 4 days. When I say week, 4 by 5, not 4 by 7. Okay, you have to study for 4 days by 5 days. Follow the 5 step preparation framework, which we're already doing. Double down break after 6 hours. Now, when I say 12 to 1, ideally, if you study from 5 o'clock till 12 o'clock, after 12 o'clock, it's recommended to have 2 hour break. So, for some of you are literally starting at 5 o'clock, already that permission is granted. These are the 7 principles of preparation. So make sure you follow all the 7 principles all the time and study for a minimum of 8 hours a day. And this is very important. Okay. In terms of routine building, complete 40% before 9 o'clock and sleep before 10 p.m. These are the two things which has to happen. Clear? So this is the base. This is the framework. This is the foundation. All of this have to be followed at all times. Any deviation, we can't commit to our promise. If you do this, if you stick to this, yes, it's a guarantee. If this is clear, what you saw on the screen, if this is clear, please type clear. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Now let us clear this out. Now, in terms of what we are doing with each of the students, let's say this at a micro level, we went through uh, what they are doing and what has to be done. Now there are certain things which are clear. So I'll tell you the outcomes because for each student, I can't spend in 1 hour with all of you. So I'll tell you the outcomes of what and how it is going ahead. So these are the set of people who have reasonably participated in the group. There are couple of students who were here and there, we removed them. We had a clear-cut conversation because these are working professionals who are not able to give us more time or more commitment. The schedules are wavering. So we gave them two options. Uh, Either give us at least 6 weeks of offline because there is a huge gap, or push that into November. Now they can't get officially for 6 months, and one of them is a mother who may not be able to spend 6 weeks. He said if it's 3 weeks, he might come, but less than because 3 weeks and failing is useless, right? 6 weeks and clearing makes sense. 3 weeks and failing is useless. So we made it very clear that we cannot help you with this level of intervention. Yeah, we made it very clear, and they push their attempts to November, both of them, because we want to respect someone's effort. If we realize that something is not going to happen in this way, we are upfront about it. Now, the random blind hope, see, they might clear, which is less than 10% possibility. That a regular possibility which everyone has, that's a useless possibility, right? It's a probability, not even a possibility. Now we are looking at certainty and possibility, which is 80%, 90%. That is exactly what we're looking at. So that way, yes. So for a couple of them, I personally called them and said that no, this is not happening with this kind of effort. You definitely have to increase it quantitatively first. Quality at a later point of time, 3 hours, 4 hours per day is not enough. And even in those 3 hours, there are distractions and you're going through something and you're not studying in the early in the morning. Late in the night, if you study, there is no energy left out. So we are very clear if you're not able to. Now, similarly for the rest of them, like rest of you, in terms of how we are taking this forward. So Kushal is preparing for inter both groups. Now for him, the challenge is his current score is around, let's say 120 in group one. And before the beginning of the boot camp, his score was around 85 in group two. Now with this boot camp, he was able to reach roughly around 125, whereas Condon was scoring 40 plus. So we verified the papers. So this is where he landed, 40 plus in all three papers, where he is passing in all three papers. Ideally, yes, we would have wanted him to hit 150 plus, but it's okay. He has reached this. Okay, there's a gap of 25 marks between what he had to do and what he has to do, what he eventually did. Now, this 25 marks would have been possible if there was zero mobile usage. So effectively from 9 o'clock today, 9 a.m. today, this is taken, this is removed. So this 25 marks gets bridged across the next 3 weeks. Okay, I spoke to his mother in front of him only yesterday itself. So for Kushal, the update is it's a positive update because if it is not happening, we are looking at both groups. If it is not happening, everyone even with their parents, they want certainty of clearing at least one group. But this time we are pushing ahead and going with both groups. Now, how are we handling both groups? Because one in March, let's say in March, originally 4 weeks are allotted for group one. Now, what we are doing is 3 weeks are given to group one and one extra week. Okay, one extra week, week four is given to group two, where he can improve from 125 to 150. The 25 mark graph will be improved in those last week. So we are borrowing 1 week from group one because group one, it's reasonably fine. I would say 100, 120, but we are, since the mobile is removed, and also I improved the target like significantly. Now it's supposed to complete a lot just today itself. Every day has to complete 6 standards, including practicing. So that way his path is set in order to ensure it is executed. Since he's staying with us, this is removed, and he's also paired up with a final student. Like we are pairing him with Hari. Earlier it was not the case. So since he is forward focused, so we made these changes for Kushal. He's sorted. Now with this step alone, we can clearly see
him hitting, let's say, 250 plus by March 31st. Now, April alone, we are looking at 40 marks in April plus 30 marks during exams in May. This is how it is. So we kind of heavily back ourselves to do near impossible things during the exams since we built a context. So this is Kushal's journey where now he need not worry about missing out on both groups. So it's very, I would say, it's going to be very streamlined for him. So he can really look forward to clear both its groups in the coming attempt is what we are looking at. Okay, this is about Kushal. Money has only group 2 and inter group 2. Now for him, his request was to get exemptions in every paper. Like 2 papers and 3 subjects is what he has. So we're looking at exemptions. Earlier, yeah, the previous group 1 score was marginal. This time, if it has to be improved, if it has to be improved from the average of 50 to 60 plus, yes, more work is to be done. But with the kind of improvement which he has shown in SM, he has done well. FM, it's not yet up to the mark, but still, we are looking at sticking to the original target where he is going to get exemptions. Okay, so for him, we are promising, we're looking at exemptions. Yes, that's the target. Just like the way others 50, for him, we are looking at exemptions as the target. For this to happen, yes, there are some macro changes which has to happen to his schedule. I'll again, he has to take a couple of hard decisions, but yes, that will also be implemented. Otherwise, we'll reduce it to 50 because passing is anyways there. But if you want 60, there are certain things which I want him to go through. So that is about him. But either way, it's still fine. Even if the extreme steps are not taken, he can still clear. So this is about it. So from our perspective, the first set of students who are at the CA, I would say intermediate. So here these 2 students who are along with us and who are currently going through this process at Hyderabad, these 2 are sorted. So one of them, both groups, one of them group 2. Okay, this is what it is. Now with Mitra, she's writing her group 1 in final. What, because especially I'll show her audit work shortly. So she has done a fabulous job in audit, where we are focusing on the fundamentals. So when I say fundamentals, we're building certain things in a way which will help her to clear the exam. Plus, that information will help her track an interview. Plus, the same set of information will help her build a career. So this is a threefold intervention which is happening parallelly, and this will happen in March itself for all the 3 papers. So this is the scope is 2x or 3x more than what it takes. Again, it's going to be a tough cognitive journey for her, but then looking at the quality of our work, we're doing it, especially because we look at 3 papers in final. One is financial reporting, the other one is advanced financial management, the other one is audit. Now, if you see, these are careers, these are career streams, right? So each of them is an independent career. So we are making sure she'll get that career clarity in March 31st at a significant level. From there, it's easy. So we are integrating her clearing exam along with career. Of course, if possible exemptions, why not? But this is the macro goal, is what we're looking at her. So for her, also the journey is reasonably solid. So these 3 students have utilized the 21-day challenge reasonably well. Of course, there will be some modifications for them also, but it's mostly positive. Like there are few gaps, but then when something is 70%, 80% positive, the 10-20% we don't push it very hard. So this is about these 3 students. Now coming to Vamsi, yes, again for him, that he's in the slightly danger zone because he doesn't have a complete understanding of his syllabus much before this. So the challenge when we decided to go for both groups, it was tough, like similar to Kushal in Inter, it's slightly tough. So there are two ways of looking at it. To simplify the problem, write only one group, or to solve the problem, you have to increase the effort intensity. So for him, currently, as it stands, the possibility of 255 to 260 is there if the same thing happens. Now we have to ensure each week 10 plus marks are improved over and above the regular target. Now the regular target is anyways there. Now this is the regular possibility on March 31st. If we don't do anything, by March 31st, he'll be landing there. So now this 4 weeks, we have to add 10 additional marks, which are over and above what is already done. So this is something which we are working upon. This additional marks are over and above what is already done. So for us to do this again, like we have to put him in a zero distraction zone. Zero distraction zone. And when I said zero distraction zone, it's the studies and surviving. That's it. Like survival in the sense you're eating to study, or you're sleeping to study, nothing else. Sleep is not an objective. Eating is not an objective. Studying is the only objective. For you to study, you have to eat something. For you to sleep, you have to do something. So that way, we had a conversation. I informed her parents it's going to be far more intensive than what it is. So again, he'll be going into zero screen time effectively from today. Zero screen time, technically. Everything else can be here, right? So this is how we are going to increase this. But yes, all these guys, Kushal, Manikanta, Mitra, and Vamsi, they've shown phenomenal progress. But then I'm not just happy with random improvement. I want that certainty. By March 31st, they should know that they should clear. Now, the way I have this conviction, they should also know this. Okay, this is exactly what we're looking at. Kushal, Mani, Mitra, and Vamsi, if this is clear, the point is with you, I'll have elaborate discussions, but is the single line summary clear for all of you? If it is clear, please type clear before I proceed forward. Okay, now that your journey is reasonably clear, Kushal, go and work on the target because today it's going to take 12 to 14 hours for you to read everything. I think it has got 34 pages. I believe you have completed the skimming part yesterday. So go and do it intensively because only when you do it today, the next 3 days are going to happen where you have to complete at least 6 standards. Okay. Immediately go there. Focus on this like a boot camp day. Like when you came to the beach boot camp, like there was one day where a heavy target was given. Just focus on this. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about anyone. Whatever you need, tell Srinath upfront and make sure you sit for 12 to 14 hours. Okay. We shall go and start working on this particular target and time frame which is given to you. This is about it. Mani, I want you to go through uh, FM index mapping or redo it. Okay, so there is a gap in your financial management as compared to audit and SM. They're reasonably good, really good as compared to this. I wanted to do a detailed level of index mapping for financial management. Then I'll have a conversation so that we'll specifically focus on what is the next logical step to be done. So until we have that conversation, please complete index mapping in a detailed way. This is what I want to do, Mani. Okay, Mitra. So based on what has happened in audit so far, okay, based on what has happened in audit so far. So I think, yeah, because of the fever element, yeah, the last 1 2 days are slightly different than what we anticipated. So I wanted to quickly go through all the three modules or three sheets which you have built and quickly revise it for 2 3 hours. And I'll have a conversation once the mom session is done. I'll be coming to your place. So until then, start revising it So we'll take the next step of continuing audit or starting this for AFM. Okay, this is what I'll look into. I'll look into your papers also. This is what I want to do. Once your target is already given, so based on this, you're completing a summary book, you're completing index mapping, you're completing two papers today and tomorrow, quickly going through that. Based on that, we'll have to decide the base material for you. So which material is suitable for completing taxation. So this is the assignment which I decided. Please go ahead and start working on it. So these 4 people can start proceeding with their day. Okay, these 4 people. Now for others, let me continue the discussion. Kushal, Manikanta, Mitra, and Vamsi, you can leave the session. Please focus on the task which is given to you. I'll be having conversations once again today, but until then, please get going and start working on it. So these 4 are done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, Hari, just like Vamsi is writing final both the groups. So when you're talking about final both the groups, when Vamsi has said the extrapolation is around 255, Hari has an advantage of, let's say, 7 to 8 marks per subject, which is around 285 as on March 31st. This gap, I'm planning to bridge it in this week itself. So this particular week, we are planning to bridge because we started with DT and then IDT and then extra space, which will be available. We are going to group 1, especially for some standards in accounting and some chapters in FM, AFM. This is exactly what is going to happen. So we'll have to have one intense week. So for that to happen, the level and the quality at which he completes DT this week is going to be super, super crucial. Also, one decision regarding the book has to be taken. We almost took it because the source book is very important. Like the book decision is very important. It should not be random and reckless. Only one book per subject is what we're focusing on. Even if we don't know, it's better to invest some time and arrive at the decision instead of taking it blindly. So that's the reason for Vamsi, we're taking 2 or 3 days to decide the book only because we're experimenting with both ICA module and some other reference book he has in mind. The same with Hari also. So the target which is given to you is what he has to work. So once again, for Hari also, we are not changing the goal. So we are going with the goal of both the groups. So all these people who are completed this, it means they have utilized the 21-day challenge effectively. Since the decision is not changed, since we are going ahead with far more concrete nature. Okay, so this is for Hari. You can go ahead and I would say start working on your DT target so that we'll arrive at a decision in the next couple of days. So Hari, it's also sorted. Now coming to Deekshita, yes. So with her, the original problem was twofold. In general, the attention, concentration, all of that, that is one. And second, her scores were low. In the first group, it was around 100. In the second group, it was around 75. So this was the problem. So the question is, would we be able to handle both the groups, especially when the intent was not great? So the first 2 weeks of February happened in a particular way where I was serious and I was even considering her to switch to only one group. But once we had that conversation from there, she started putting in a lot of intent and effort. We made some changes in terms of her roommate. A lot of changes have been made in terms of her curriculum. So yeah, right now, yes, especially the last 2 weeks work, it's decent progress. Again, a lot has to be done. There's decent progress. But for now, yeah, we are looking at both groups. Now this might change if the intent drops. But right now we are looking at both groups. And this week we are making her write a mock test, like the series of mock tests for all 3 papers, where we're looking at crossing 40s, which she is. But then today I want to sit with her and see the realistic possibility of accommodating one more group and how do we build a plan accordingly. Because once we cross 120 plus, yes, definitely we want to back her up and help her complete the other 3 papers in just 3 weeks so that by April, she'll at least reach 250 or 260 by April. By at the beginning of April, the extra marks I can help her because she has some exceptional capabilities in learning, which we can trigger in April. But for her to get there, yes, there's a lot of hard work which is required right now. So that way, yes, Deekshita is doing both the groups and moving ahead. I think this is going to stay and continue, but again, it depends on the efforts from her. So Deekshita, what I'm doing is I'm sharing you a format. Okay, I'm sharing you a format. So summarize the discussion, like whatever you shared. I want it to, I would say, I want it to be shared in the format which I'm sharing you right now. So have a look. I've sent it to you over message. Finish it and text me. I'll be there once you're done with that. Okay. It's all about what did you accomplish in the last 3 weeks for each of the papers. Or if I can show it right away. So this is what I want. So we are creating two columns and 3 rows. Now, 2 columns, things that have improved and things that need to improve. In the column 1 is paper 1, column 2 is paper 2, column 3 is paper 3. So that way, for all the 3 papers, you are writing what has improved in the last 3 weeks and what needs to further improve, so that I'll sit and do the evaluation. Now, this black ink is written by Kushal, and then I had to work on the top of it. Okay, so this will give us absolute clarity. Kushal is very happy after doing this exercise because it's very clear in his mind, and he's also very confident. I was pushing him to go for both groups. He had slight level of hesitation. Now he's also very confident. His parents are also very confident. So this is what, yeah, this is where he said he stays 120 by 300 is already accomplished. So we're looking at adding those remaining marks in this month itself. Okay. I want you to do this. If it's clear, if this is clear, please type clear and you can leave the session. If this is clear. Oh, let's start working on next time. Good. Yeah. Okay. Now for the rest of you. While working with the set of people, because the reason why we're able to accomplish 100% of the goals, like in terms of marks, there is 10% here and there. Some of them did well in certain subjects, but overall, I would say 90% of the 21-day challenge targets have been achieved for all of them, all the 6 people. So this is sorted out for them. Now, when I look at what actually worked and what worked better for them, now, as I said, this has some research in terms of how interventions can happen. That's when I realized. So when you do some intervention, there are 3 circles, so 3 layers. The first circle, the second circle, the third circle. Now, what is the first circle here? The first circle is you. Okay, you as in your personality, your physical routine, your mental space, and everything. This is you. The second circle is your environment or environment. The third circle is external factors. Now, when we started this intervention, like in 2019 is where we actively started doing things in different formats, and every year the intensity increased, and right now we have reached a point where we are literally able to give guarantee for passing. Now, when we started this, the idea was you are here, like you are here, this online ecosystem is your environment. So when we started this with that, and whenever results used to come, it was always decent. It was always on the higher side as compared to any other benchmark. So we're like, okay, it's working. Let's keep improving. Let's keep improving. But then off late, especially after we started working offline, we realized we are not operating here. We are not the environment. Your environment is your physical environment. Online environment can never compete with a physical environment. This is what we have clearly understood. You're thinking that we are almost operating like a substitute for the physical environment. No, it's not happening. So we are restricted to the external environment. We thought we are in your environment directly working with you. But now we realized we are here. We also realized we are not able to work with you directly at the level which we thought we are. So this is the gap which has been identified. So this environment is offsetting the work which is created here. We do something here, and this is collapsing it. So it is not allowing us to reach you the way we thought, the rate we could because of this layer. So your physical environment currently, uh, you might not have the sensitivity to understand this. You might be feeling, okay, I'm sitting in my room, I don't have anything to do, my parents won't disturb me. It is all there, but you can only understand only when you experience the other side, only when you experience a direct intervention. Because now for all of them, when we had initial discussion, none of them understood this. For all of them, it's not that they took a fantastic decision. It's just that they attended the boot camp. They attended the boot camp, and then it was easy. And in some cases, they were able to take a decision in just 50 minutes. Like Deekshita's parents took the decision in just 50 minutes. They just met me for the very first time. They looked at it. They understood. Again, they saw the offline environment. Again, for all the decision makers who have taken the decision, all of them had access to offline environment. That's the reason why they took a decision. For others, since they don't have access or they didn't see what is happening, they didn't experience what could happen, it's hard for them. This is what is happening. So for us, frankly, I don't know when we can break this and substitute this your environment with our online environment. I don't know how long will it take if it's practically possible, because that has a powerful impact. Physical environment is always powerful than digital environment. How many of you agree to the extent of experience you have with multiple learning ecosystems? How many of you agree that physical environment is powerful than online environment? How many of you agree to this? It's a basic insight. So it's like digital library sitting in a digital study hour versus actual library, right? This is what we are very clear. Earlier, we were against the reason why we used to compare us with offline, saying that, we always said, why should you spend that extra, uh, inputs? Why should you come to a different place and all of that? So that is exactly how we thought. But right now, once we started doing it, once we saw the magical level of intervention, it's very clear. So the insights which we got about all of them, where I had a physical printout, a physical handwritten paper, followed by a face-to-face conversation with each of them. I was looking into the paper, I was asking them, I was checking the books. So I was trying to correlate between what they read here and what they wrote here and what they thought about their current scenario. So it's all linear. The learning process, the exam output, and the person. Now that way it has went to a very different level. Now, if you ask me, the same level of insight we don't have. Of course, we did go through your, I would say, EMTs, PDR, day under vision, and limited CDR. CDRs, very few people are doing it. So all of this, we have a reasonable understanding. Again, it's a reasonable understanding. Now the question of whether this reasonable understanding is enough or not is a dangerous question. Like when I say enough, currently, if you look at the passing percentage, again, group one, let's say it's 10%, last time it's 9%. Let's say group two, let's make it 20%, and both groups it's 10%. So roughly, it's either 10% or maximum 20%, right? So for some of you to decide whether to stick to the original plan of both groups or should you shift to one group, again, I see a possibility, but the level of improvement, let's say, now here, Alvin has the same question for single versus both groups. Now, in terms of how it works, Anshu, Harsha, no, Anurag. Now, I still believe there is a reasonable possibility, but I'm not able to assess and judge how it is panning out, because here and here, in terms of the layer of efficiency, there is a clear-cut difference. Let's say here, if it's 90, here I can say it's only 60. Again, you put in 100%. Now, even after you put in 100%, it only came here. This is exactly where we landed. So now, before we proceed forward, yes, like this keeps happening. The online part completely keeps happening. But if someone really wants to clear, again, when you say seriousness, you have to understand seriousness. Seriousness is not just intention as action also. Everyone wants to clear. Who would not want to clear? Everyone wants it. Even people watching this on YouTube also want to clear, but they don't take action. They don't do anything about it. They just want to get that superficial feeling of doing something and pulling something without taking concrete action. Now, if someone definitely wants to take concrete action, they definitely want us to take 100% responsibility of them clearing. I definitely want access to this environment because I want access to you. So I can't bypass your environment and reach you in the current ecosystem is what we are realized. Again, 1,000+ students have cleared because of online where we never met them. That is definitely there. A lot of people have cleared. But I'm talking about difference between possibility and certainty. So possibility is always there. Even by watching our free videos on YouTube, a lot of people clear. By just reading our mails, a lot of people clear. So that the possibilities are always there. The good quality input will always trigger the possibility. But I'm talking about certainty. Now, in terms of talking about certainty, is what I want to clearly understand because if you see, so we have 6 here. So we have 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 slots are filled. Now we only have 4 more slots because this time the target is offline will take 10 and all 10 by 10 will clear. Now next time we kind of make it 20. That's it. Now these 2 iterations and cycles, 10 by 10 clearing is an insane thing because and these are the people who have already failed. Like all of them failed. Like Kushal had given 4 attempts, I guess earlier, 3, 4 attempts. Manikanta has given 3, 4 attempts. Mitra has given all together, probably including group 1 and earlier group 2, probably 3 attempts. Vamsi has given attempts. Harinath, all 4, 5 attempts. All of them have given attempts, multiple repeated attempts. So these are not regular students who would have cracked it directly. So there's a lot of effort and intent which is happening from different stages, different backgrounds, different cognitive levels. Still, if you can achieve this, is fabulous. Like this is fabulous result. Without having because all the people who does 100% clearing stuff, we have 2 advantages. They have the advantage of time. It's very long term. Let's say look at something like Super 30, they have 2 years time. If you look at something like Ramaya, they have a heavy filtering mechanism. They kind of filter. You're not having a lot of time. You're not filtering, and we're still able to achieve that. So that will be a fantastic achievement. So now, for us to hit 10 by 10, we're looking at only 4 students. Now, this 4 students, if you take somebody fresh, if we have, because we have a lot of requests, and now there is intent. There is a strong intent for them to join. They are super excited because they know that individually they're not going to clear at all. Now, their intent is there, but my question is the competence. Now, for a new student, if I have to take it, I train them throughout this thinking process and all of that. Now, they have intent. Now, if I give them a chance, they'll join right away. But for me, intent is necessary but not sufficient. What I need is competence. Now, in terms of competence, I would rather trust this set of people than a random person with intent. So competence is more important. Now, what is the problem with this set of people? This set of people, uh, when it's very hard to, as I said, it's very hard for anyone to improve from 40 to 55. It's very easy to improve from 25 to 40 because 25 you've given up. Your mind is clear, your mind is open, and you don't, you know that you don't know. Here, it's very hard for you to know that you don't know. You'll be in a reasonably comfortable position. You'll be thinking that this is fine, this is working. I think this will be sufficient. Now that's the danger one because you are not able to break it down objectively in terms of whether it's sufficient or not. Now we have a proper understanding. So one hand, yes, we don't want to. We would rather take people who are already showing intent than asking people who are still doubtful. But for me, my focus is on the outcome. What is the outcome? If 10 people are coming, all 10 has to clear. If I have a choice, I would definitely bet. Like anyways, I have to bet on someone. When we're heavily betting on, 100+ online students' attention to only 10 students, like we're giving 10x attention. Now, why are we doubling the result 10 times? When I said 10% is the average result, when you're talking about 100%, we're talking about 10x extra probability. How is 10x happening? Because we're putting 10x extra attention in terms of input. Like 10 people is insane, right? A full-fledged team working only on 10 people is insane. It never happens, and nobody can ever do this. So when we're doing it, we definitely want an outcome. When we definitely want that kind of outcome, we definitely want people who can make it possible because of the competence, because it's at least 60. For others, it's at 30. We have to move from 30 to 90. Now here it's actually 60 to 90. But is 60 enough? No, that is a problem. It may be, but I'm not sure. Because you are talking about, most of you, you're talking about a probability which has to be improved from 10%, because when I'm writing both groups, the probability is not even 20. 20 is at least for a group, 15 to 20 is for a group. For both the groups, it is far more lower. So this is the challenge which we are currently facing. So this is one challenge which we are currently facing. Now, in terms of the problems, like let's look at it further. Now, one, definitely morning routine has improved. Two, consistency has picked up. Three, mental peace is there. Four, confidence is picked up for all of you. Confidence has picked up. Five, presentation has improved. So these are all there. These are definitely there. But my concern is you're looking at it relatively. You're looking at it, I was here. Now I improved so much in just 3 weeks. This is good. But the idea is not, this is not the reference point. My reference point is this. It's still a long way. From this, you always keep improving. Next week, you do something, you'll always keep improving. But what if during the exam, you land here instead of here? So this is my concern. This is my problem. And this is the exact reason why I'm slightly concerned about it. So, and these days, as I said, now this is the first time we always pull people into a faster attempt. We always pull people to number to make. This is the first ever time we push someone because we are only focusing on certainty. We don't want them to put in, like, say, 3 hours per day for 2-3 months and still get 120, 130. That's useless. They might clear, but when I ask them, they're also not very sure about it, and they're not sure about the effort in multiple things. When you're not even sure of the input, how can you be sure about the output? At least it's not even logically possible for them to clear in May. So that's why I pushed them. Pushed in the sense that diluted. So one is when you have only one group, yes, you definitely have to write it. When you have both groups, you write only one group. This is exactly how we look at it. In their case, we did not even consider the possibility of writing one group also because it's so diluted. That's how we're taking the right decision. So this is what has happened. This is what has worked. And now what are the challenges? One, most of the time when we talk to students, the way they define a particular problem versus the way we get to the problem through, now this is the research technique. It's called direct observation. The actual problem is very different from how they're looking at it. So they said, this is the problem. We're trying to solve it, but the improvement would not happen the way it is because the definition of the problem is wrong. We are able to redefine the problem for this set of people here through direct observation and through repetitive one-to-one conversations. Now, what do you mean by repetitive? So we have this conversation, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. So the dots are connected within a time frame. Because of which we're able to better understand the problem, which I don't see any possibility happening on. This is one problem definition. Let's look at two. Now, let's say now after the session in another 10-20 minutes, I'll be walking up to the Central Park where they'll be studying. Now, when I have a look at the book in terms of how they're studying, in terms of how they're underlying, how they're highlighting and everything, the moment I look at it, I get a real-time feedback in terms of what it is. So it's almost like autocorrection. Like Grammarly, it keeps correcting you real time, right? So this autocorrection is helping them improve the quality in less time. So this, the difference is almost whatever takes, 6 weeks, here it's happening in 2 weeks because of this. It's like physically a doctor checking the pulse and online, how are you? How are you feeling? So that's the difference here. First is this problem definition. Second is the real-time feedback. Now, this is from our perspective. We are not able to clearly define the problem when people, when you only have connection to the screen. And second thing, the real-time feedback is largely missing. Yes. Speed of execution, which I spoke from your perspective, our perspective also, like today, if I have to change something, we're just able to change. Like literally, we change the room pattern in just 1 hour. Okay, we did it. Okay, this is we thought of integrating a couple of people. We tried it. It did not work the way we wanted, and then we looked at the outcome in the last 1 week. Then we said, okay, then let's move to this place. Let's move to a new room partner. Let's do this. In 1 hour, things change. Most of the problems are sorted. For you, when you realize the place is the problem, what would you do? Would you move to a new place? Would you find a room? Like if you look at it, you're not doing anything about it. When you're finding a problem, you're just stuck to the default zone because you're having a lot of default decision making. What is default decision making? Okay, anyways, this is there. Anyways, this is there. So the books, we change the books for a lot of people. I'm already, although they bought some books, I'm forcing them to buy new books because books, that investment is nothing. It happens in a couple of thousand rupees for changing the whole books. But then if it affects 5 to 10 marks, it's not worth it, right? So how would I know? When I look at it, I open the book depending on how much they are revised, not depending on how new the book is or something, but depending on how much they are already revised, how much it is already stored in that bind. If nothing much is stored, we can change the book. So this speed of execution in terms of taking decisions is where I'm having some level of frustration because I'm telling you, see, at some point of time we'll solve it for online also because predominantly we don't want to operate online. But for this attempt, these are the three challenges which we have from our side. Okay, these are the three things. Now, from the other side, from your side, like what is it we are noticing, especially looking at the trackers? Now, one is frequency and accuracy. So yesterday when we did that, it's like here, we're physically making them sit in a particular place during a particular time to submit this. So it's not done casually. It's not done for the sake of it. It's done like an exam environment where everybody has to stop everything and focus and do it. And sometimes I say that don't give them food unless they submit the DNRs. So when I say frequency, uh, this set of students compared to this have done it very less. More gaps are there here. That is frequency. And in terms of accuracy, the quality of data, generally, like there are exceptions. There are some people, Alvin is doing it really well. That's there. But in general, in terms of the accuracy, things are not happening the way they should have, given their effort. Because they're putting in effort. Everybody's putting their effort. But in terms of the effort and outcome, there is a mismatch because of multiple reasons. So one decision making thing is those. Two is exam mistake tracker. The way the mistakes are given and the way the EMTs are filled and filed, it's giving us a very different insight, a different depth of the set of people. I think the same is not happening here. And third is the regular study time. We don't know whether you're studying. We are simply not able to know. Here, even if somebody sits with the book, even if it feels they're slightly sleepy, we are having strict control of not letting them, uh, study at less intensity. They either have to stand, like we have multiple spaces where you study in the open, where you have to stand. So getting sleep is not the problem, but how we are reacting to it. Imagine losing 1 2 hours every single day, how dangerous that is. So there are more and more problems which are there, and especially in terms of the improvement cycle. Here it's happening almost like daily. There that can never be replicated with this level of intensity. And again, now this is not something which is practical feasible. See, the whole idea is not a compare. This is something which is exceptional one-time thing, which we are doing so that we'll get a strong base of 10 by 10 results. Otherwise, we can't do this with the same level of attention just for 10 students, giving so much attention and all of that. Literally, some of them are coming and staying at my home. All of that, it can't happen. So in this set of people, if there's someone who are looking to clear for sure 100%. Now, if you're okay with 70%, 80% or whatever, it's fine. It's totally fine. Online will do the work. But there is a difference between that 80% and 100%. That's called certainty, right? That's what an expertise comes into picture. Now, when you go to a surgeon, there are some people whose life has to be saved, like celebrities and all. For them, the doctor comes from a different ecosystem. Now, the decisions they take is very different. Now, when somebody life has to be saved, it's different. A lot of people take a chance, like, okay, I have this. This is my budget. This is the place where I want to go. I don't want to go to a different city. Let me get operated here. Now, there the possibilities change, right? Not that these are bad doctors, but you understand now why when somebody's life becomes very important, they take a decision very differently. If it's reasonably important, they take a decision very importantly. Now, this is also like if this attempt is very important, if this clearing in this attempt is very important, you have to take decision very different. If it's like, okay, let me somehow do the best, and now if I'm optimizing it, it's very different. So this is exactly uh, what I had to discuss at a macro level, what I had to discuss at a macro level. But apart from this, over and above, I just want to have personal discussions with you also. This is at a macro level. Now, when I say personal discussions, what I want to do is please go through your journey, like whatever has been done, like the framework which I have shared, start writing that. Start writing that. I'll finish conversations here itself. I'll open a breakout room. Before 7:30, we'll finish the conversation because I want to understand what I can do. And here, nobody in India can do this because we are very truthful. When I say truthful, if I see there is a gap, I have the ability and guts to say there is a gap. Now, nobody lists out the number of people. Nobody has access. Now you look at it. Do you even know how many students your faculties have? You won't even have a clue. You won't even have a clue. Let's say you paid 20,000 to accounting. You paid 10,000 for costing. You don't even have the slightest clue. Most of them operate at 10,000 students per year or even more. 10,000 students per year. I'm talking about an average faculty. Now that is the level at which they operate. So there is no practical way that they can focus on individual. It's not that whether they're doing it right or if leaving it effort, there's no practical way. So when there's an opportunity and if there is a requirement, again, if there is no requirement, it's not required. So let's understand it practically because I need to decide my scope. Now, when I say decide my scope, when I'm talking about the 10 people, they're like family, inner circle. My responsibility is very different. Like it's like family because they're literally staying in the inner circle. Now, with this, it's slightly different. Now, I wish and pray that every CS student clears, but I can't do anything about them. There are a lot of people who are still struggling, but I can't do anything. I can only share. The reason why we stream these videos, most of the videos are streamed, is because if someone is watching this, they should get benefited somehow. But we can't hold responsibility in a two-way, back and forth way. So this is exactly what. Now here it's reasonably back and forth, but it's not absolute. So one, start going through like in a single sheet of paper, start going through. Just prepare this framework, 1, 2, 3 matrix. Things have improved, things need to improve for each and every subject. So we'll see what can be done based on what has already been done. So once we decide anything in the next 1, 2 days, I don't want to talk about it once again. Like this is the last time I talk about because even for us to accommodate one person, it's a lot. It's a very expensive decision, and we can't keep changing and we can't keep wasting time. So if we have to give priority, you guys are the highest priority because you already done 60%. If not, it's just because anybody pays the same fee. Now it doesn't matter. We just have to put in that extra effort that is there. But just I'm giving you one last chance to think through this thoroughly. So let's take the right decision. If online is the right decision, let's stick to that. Again, for us also, it's a huge burden if someone comes with higher expectation. Here it's reasonably okay, right? So let's arrive at the right decision. The way I'm very critical about the gap, I also wanted to be critical with the gap. What's good? Let's talk about it. Yesterday we did talk about what's good in a very solid way. That is there. Now let's also be very critical about what has to improve. Don't pat yourself with that pseudo comfort saying that something has improved. No, that is not what we're looking at. Something will always improve. But is it enough? Or is it good enough to clear on time? When I say on time, we're talking about March. Okay. So this is how we are going to start the conversations. So rest of you start building that framework. Rest of you start building that framework in terms of for each subject, what has improved and what has to further improve. Simple sheet. Just start writing that framework. I'll probably reach out to you in 5-10 minutes. So I'm starting with Prasanna since his things are reasonably clear comparatively. I'm starting with Prasanna. I'm creating a breakout room. So rest of you start working. You can sit here and start working, and I'll keep calling you in probably 5 minutes each. Krishna, I created a breakout room. You can join there. Yeah, go ahead and join. Rest of you, I'll be asking you.